All right, what's up, my brothers? So in this video, I got this request from this woman. I did a podcast interview on her platform maybe 2 years ago. She's Indian, and I do get quite a few interesting questions from Indian viewers. I'll just hop right into it. She says, I've got a question. She wants me to make a video, sort of talk about it. So a guy tries to act alpha. So what this video is really about is you're not alpha if, basically, is what it boils down to. There's a lot of guys that'll just like watch a few videos, maybe read my book, and then they kind of like resort or default back to like beta plugged in sort of conditioning. So she says this guy that she's with tries to act alpha, is successful in making her think he's alpha, reads my book, but in every fight he gets his mom in between and also shared everything, like every small detail with his mom. Is that how alpha should be? The answer to that is no, obviously. She says, you teach people online how to ignore women who do this and that. She's probably referring to something like a soft next protocol, which I'll explain in a minute. Sometimes us Indian women have situations, and she puts in brackets, family situations, which we can't handle, but these boys listen to you and have lost all understanding. I understand women in the West might be like this, but we here suffer. It's always about me, solipsism, right? Maybe if you make a video or talk about the quality of sharing everything or getting their mom in between a couple fight is not alpha types, he'll listen to you and is good for his future. I love it when chicks are all like, fix my boyfriend, husband, whatever, right? She says, because he literally sits and watches your YouTube videos like a baby watches cartoons with full attention. Right. Well, let's talk about that then, shall we? Yeah, dude, look, if you got to get people involved, and the worst of all of that is your mommy. If you got to get your mommy involved in your personal life with your chick, you're not even close to alpha. You're still a plugged-in beta male. The Unplugged Alpha is the title of my book. I know many of you have read it. Some of you haven't. If you haven't, it's pinned in the top comment below in this video. But look, the notion of unplugging, let's deal with the first word, unplugged, okay? The notion of unplugging is essentially disconnecting from comforting lies that society has sold us, okay? These are lies that don't serve us in relationships, in our lives, making ourselves our own mental point of origin, making bank, you know, all that stuff that I've talked about many times and I've covered in detail in many of the chapters of my book. You're not an unplugged dude if you're still subscribed to lies, i.e., I need to involve a family member like my mommy to get involved in a relationship that I can't handle. A unplugged man handles things himself, right? Because he understands that societal conditioning, culture, I think this guy's pulling over, you know, societal conditioning, culture, religion, all the marketing you get in, you know, your younger years, whether it's through a function of television programming, Disney, Bollywood in this case maybe, because they're Indians, basically convincing men to simp and let their families run their lives. You know, you can't, like, there was a time where that worked, where family involvement and picking mates and raising your kids and schooling your kids and law enforcement and medical issues, that all made sense, right? Like, the original point of marriage was the acquisition of in-laws. Okay, it was not about love, it was not about making babies, it was not about vows or exchanging rings or any of that bullshit. It was about the acquisition of in-laws. So there was a time in history where acquiring in-laws and deferring to them for matters would make sense. So you can't go back to the old ways and still be unplugged at the same time. Just can't. Which sounds like what this chick's getting frustrated with her boyfriend, fiance, whoever he is in her life, I don't know. But this dude that she's describing sounds like a simp, basically. You know, he sounds like a plugged-in beta male that sees the code in the matrix, probably, you know, understands certain conditions, i.e. like a soft next. She misbehaves, she throws a hissy fit, she becomes bratty, whatever, doesn't talk to her for a couple of days. That's all that a soft next really is. So let's just use that as an example. So she sees the code because she knows what I talk about because she's read my book and she talked to me in a podcast interview. Then she sees her boyfriend use the same strategies on her. She sees, okay, well, that works. I got frustrated. I lost the attention, whatever the case may be. But at the end of it all, he goes and involves his mommy into the equation, and she just dries up. She's like, what the hell? I thought you were an alpha, dude. I thought you were unplugged, you know? And then he goes and lets her down. Now, this is a unique situation. She's watched my videos. She's talked to me. I've done that podcast interview with her. I get it. So she's getting frustrated with a fake alpha, a pretend alpha, a poser. And believe it or not, guys, I'll be honest with you, most of the guys that go and consume this type of content and they start to see the code in the matrix.
Red light camera ahead.
Even a lot of the guys that create this content, I'm going to tell you a little secret. Most of them are posers. Okay, most of them are not who they purport to be. I've seen guys hold out to be like, I've got a wicked notch count, I've got awesome frame with women, but they get their ass kicked by their girlfriend. She's physically abusive to him. I've heard this, okay? Like firsthand. I've heard evidence of this firsthand. This is not secondhand. I've heard the actual conversation where one of these dorks is all, I'm awesome and great with women, I have a huge notch count, buy my course, but their girlfriend beats the shit out of them, okay? So most of these guys out there in the Mano Swamp, for example, even though they might have some good information, are generally posers. So if it's happening to these guys, so think about how often it happens to guys that consume content, okay? The guys that think that they've unplugged and they've become an alpha because they've read a book or watched a few videos, tuned into a podcast, booked a consult. It doesn't matter what it happens to be, but the way that you need to understand it from the perspective of actually having a good experience as a guy and chicks entering your frame is you have to become the fucking game. You have to become the unplugged alpha. It's not a act as if, you know, until they believe you. Okay, this isn't Boiler Room. Go watch that movie if you haven't seen it. There's a small little soundbite in there that I just quoted. Those of you that know. This is not an act as if. Pretend that you're alpha long enough until people around you believe you. You have to become that game. You have to adopt that mindset in every area of your life. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to use a soft next because she misbehaved, but then some other chaos or trauma comes your way and mommy has to get called in the equation to broker a deal between you and your chick. That's a beta bitch. You're basically a pussy. And women don't want guys like that, which is why she's frustrated dealing with stuff like that. So if you're going to unplug for real. Let's deal with the second word now, alpha. Now, this word ruffles a lot of feathers, okay? More so than anything else out there. Oh, there's no such thing as alphas, you're not an alpha, Rich, blah, blah, fucking blah. It doesn't matter what you think. What matters is what women think. And I quoted that specifically in my book for a reason. Many of you just breezed over it. An alpha is determined by women. It's not determined by you. Other guys can call you an alpha male. They can say, you know, you're a man's man, blah, blah, effing blah sort of thing. But the actual archetype, if you will, is determined by women. They're the ones that get to decide whether or not they see you as a high-value alpha male or a plugged-in beta male. If you're an unplugged alpha, then maybe you win that title over, but women always reserve the right to change their mind at any given time. Again, let's say you get your mommy involved in a dispute between you and your chick. She's all of a sudden going to look at you and be like, dude, I thought you were an alpha male. What happened to you? You're clearly not. You're just some beta poser, right? So it's a lifestyle adoption. You can sit around and watch every single one of my podcasts, read my books, you know, book consults, you know, form new tribes, join my community. You can do all those things, but if you stay plugged into comforting lies that didn't serve you, that got you the shit results that you got before you came across my content, you're still the same person. All you do is you now know how things work. You know, you just understand what drives attraction with women, but you don't adopt it in your own life. So that's a pretty shitty and precarious position to be in, because now you understand what works, but you're not applying what works in the real world. Hence the word poser. So with that being said, guys, look, there's a lot of fraudulent, faux, poser alphas out there. Whoa, just smacked into a bird. Haven't seen that happen in a while. But it's gonna happen. It's seriously gonna happen to the vast majority of people that try to unplug, that go looking to solve their chaos, because that's ultimately what brings most guys to this type of content, is they suffered some degree of chaos in their life, heartbreak, girlfriend dumped them, cheated on them, wife, divorced them, took the kids, any number of things. It's generally derived, or the origin of it, if you will, comes from some level of chaos in their life, which, if we're being honest, the chaos is the result of shitty choices in your own life. So you can't blame her, your mom, her mom, anybody else or anything else. If you're suffering terrible results in your own life, the fact of the matter is it's because you made shit choices. So don't just read, learn, and understand. You have to go beyond that. You have to become. Okay, you have to be. I'm going to wrap it up on this note. There's this old phrase, be, do, have. Okay, and this will make sense hopefully for most of you. Some of you are still going to be clueless at the end of it, but be, do, have is an old sequence of words. 3 very simple words: be, do, and have. Most people get it completely wrong. I'll give you an example. Most people will be like, well, if I do a law degree and have my certificate and my job and my house and my wife or husband, I frame it in mahogany around the wall, we have our babies, blah, 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 then I will be happy, then I will be complete. Okay? And that's the absolute wrong sequence. You must be first. You must become first. Okay? So if you want to become the Unplugged Alpha, it needs to become part of your very fiber. It needs to become you. Okay? Most people do it the other way around. If I do read this book or do watch these podcasts and have these new applied, red pill metrics in my lifestyle, I'll soften next to her if she behaves badly. I use the Muse Mastery if she accuses me of looking at another girl, or ask why Becky is liking all my profile photos on social media or something like that. Then I will be the Unplugged Alpha. And you must become first. All right? Make sense? That's all I need to say on this one, guys. I know it might seem somewhat complex to execute, but it really isn't. It's an adoption of a new mindset. It's an adoption of a new belief system that serves you more completely to get you the results. Always be first, then do the things that are aligned with that being, with that new version of yourself. You've killed off the beta, and then you will have the life that you want. Be, do, have. Simple as that. Anyway, that's the way I've lived my life for a few years now. So we'll see you guys later. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a thumbs up and a comment below. And check out the top pinned comment. There's lots of useful stuff in there you might want to check out as far as resources like my book, booking a consult, watching the other content. See you guys later. Peace out.